Closed captioning for A Piece of the Woods was made possible by Shorter Log Home Supply, providing for the log builders for 20 years. Underwriting for A Piece of the Woods was brought to you by Tenonizer Technology, 25 years providing the log industry equipment and techniques to simplify perfection. Great Woods Cabinetry, providing custom cabinetry and more to the Twin Cities and now everywhere, from online to on-site. From Minnesota, an online resource for log enthusiasts. And Quality Manufacturing, building quality portable sawmills is in their reputation.
You know, the Log Circle Stairway can be one of the most challenging projects for a contractor to build. There's just so many things to mess up on, but we want you to get it right. So we're going to work through the technology of it, we're going to do the math, we're going to take a stairway pole, fit it into the house, drill the holes for the stair treads, and get it all fitted together. So grab your pencil and paper, get ready to take some notes, and join us for another episode of A Piece of the Woods. Well, hello. Welcome to another Piece of the Woods. We have a new adventure going for the day. This tree, let's see, about 5 years ago was standing by the edge of Loon Lake, and straight line winds came by and it just blew it right over. It didn't damage the tree as far as it ripped it out of the ground, but a friend of mine who lived there called me up and said, hey, this blew down and we got this tree. I said, is it one of them giant white pines you got over there? He said, yeah. I said, that'd make an excellent log circle stairway pole. So here we are, some 5 years later, and pulled the tree out from storage, and we're going to put it in the house and make a log circle stairway out of it. So stay tuned. Well, we've got the log set here so we can spin it. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to take with our little laser mark here, and we are going to trace it around and go right around the tree, and this will give us a perfectly straight cutoff line for the top and bottom of the tree. The one will fit perfectly flat to the floor, and then the top of our pole will be absolutely perfect also. All the way around, look at that. Exactly perfect. Oh, get our electric chainsaw and cut it and bring it to perfect flat and put our little spacers in there. We'll talk about them in a minute. We're going to give this project a rating of 5. And it's still much easier than it used to be, but it's not necessarily a simple choice. So we're going to give this one a 5. How's that? Excellence is not necessarily measured in dollars and cents. Isn't that nice cut there on our $1.50 lathe? Now, when you're messing around like this, you need to keep a safety factor in mind. All of the components that we're using, hanging stuff and supporting things, you want to keep a 3 3-to-1 safety factor, where if it weighs 1,000 pounds, support enough to carry 3,000 pounds. Keep yourself in one piece. Nothing missing, nothing broken, okay? We're going to set our column on 8 of these little leg bolts here. Now the leg bolt's going to give a space between the bottom of the pole and the floor, so after the stairway's in, you can put the tile in. It's a tile floor around it. Put tile in around the column and take care of all of that without, so it looks nice finished under there. And then also we'll hold it up off of the concrete, so it'll be a moisture barrier, so there's no potential of wicking moisture from the cement up into the stairway center column. Yes, I know I'm giving this a little bit of an overkill up here as far as a lot of support, but we're going to set this pole in place with this bracket hanging from a cable, and we don't want it to land on anybody, especially me, so we're just going to set it in place really nice, very gentle. Now, we'll go get the trailer and load it up. This is the eastern red cedar tree here. We planted this in, 96, I believe. Now, this would be 7 years old now. And we're going to go look at another tree, or a group of trees that we planted the same year, okay? The Norway pine that you see here, these were planted the same year as that little eastern red cedar. And on this ground right here, it was pushed off, so it was bare sand. The topsoil was pushed off and used someplace else. And we planted these here in just bare sand, had a good water supply. But what made the difference in growth? Well, we got one tree that was designed for one climate, another tree that was designed for this climate. And the difference, well, climate, we got temperature, we've got ground, we got the soil conditions, and there's just a number of other factors, wind load and all these things that come into account. What I want to say is this: research your trees before you plant them, okay? It all makes the difference.
Into the Woods was underwritten by Quality Manufacturing.
This is where we're putting the stairway in here. Why don't you come on in? We're going to set the stairway pole right here. We're going to be 50 inches out from the wall and from the edge of our loft floor. We're coming over 2 feet, and that'll be the center of our stairway pole. 2 feet over, 50 inches out. We'll center it right here. Well, we've set up our scaffolding and all of our cables and rigging. Now the scaffolding we've got is custom made, rated at 5,000 pounds. And you see these little cables all over, tying the thing back into place. And of course we got to keep our safety rating, our 3-to-1 margin there. So the log's 1,000 pounds, close to it. And we've got a gear winch up on top here. And see our cable, I can't quite reach it, coming down to the log. And we'll pull it up in just a minute here. I want you to see something on the bottom of the log. Josh, why don't you tell them what that is down there, that little hole in the bottom of the log.
At the bottom of the log, we've drilled a hole so that it'll lock on top of a nut, and then the tree won't move around on our floor once it's finished.
We'll glue that in place, glue that once we set the log in place, and it'll set and dry there real solid. All right, here we go, up. There we are. Now we need to turn it so the pretty side is out, put the not prettiest side to the wall.
I'm going to take and I'm going to put a whole bunch of this glue over the top of this.
Do I have to raise it up? Oh, excuse me. Do I have to raise it up any higher?
No.
To clear that glue?
It's fine.
Okay.
And this way, the excess diameter of the hole will be filled by the glue. There. Yeah, there we go. We need to try and figure out how many treads we're going to have and what the distance between each tread is going to be. So we've worked a sheet out, and he's going to go through the numbers with us, and we're going to discover the answer to all these questions.
We've got an answer to all the questions. We've got a floor height, we'll start with that, from floor to floor of 114 3/4 inches. Okay? We want our stair tread height per rise to be less than 8. Dividing the height from floor to floor by 8 for this stairway equals 14.34, or 14 stair treads and 15 risers. In order for this stairway's walking path to have a 10-inch footprint, multiply 14 by 10. You must also determine the fraction of a circle your stairway will be. This stairway will be 3/4 of a circle. The circle stairway formula will determine the stairway radius from the center of your post to the walking path of your stair tread in inches. For this stairway, the total radius will be 45 inches. Now the next section is just to figure out the degrees per stair tread, part of the formula too. You can work through that on the website. We end up with a degrees per stair tread. Each stair tread is going to be 19.286 degrees per stair tread.
So from where I'm standing, we're going to move that number forward for each tread.
Yeah, come forward 19.286. Now our stairway, our first step up is going to be right, I'm just about here. Once we move the scaffolding, first step up is going to be right here. And then we're going to land all the way around and land up on, coming up at 3/4 of a turn up on the loft floor there.
And we've chosen to start our stairway on the side that he just pointed out, because we would like at the beginning of the room, the entrance to the room here, to have some more space, not so many people bonking their heads on stuff.
Yeah, actually be able to walk underneath of the stairway to get into the living room here. And so now we're going to go through and very carefully mark the position of each stair tread and all that.
It's my pen marker.
On top of our stairway pole, you can see the pattern, our layout for our stair treads. It's up on top, mounted to the top. Now, the way that we can work this and have an irregular shaped piece of wood, this log is, it's perfect, but it's wood, it's a tree, okay? And we need to get our stair treads in here absolutely perfect. the diameter of our circle of our pattern, 28 5/8. That is so that on the circumference of our pattern, every 1/4 of an inch equals 1 degree. And remember our layout, our stair treads were, I think it was 19 and about 1/4 of an inch, 19 1/4 degrees for every stair tread. So on our pattern here, we go 4 13/16 around the circumference of our circle, and that positions every stair tread perfectly. To transfer the pattern to the post, we use a 2 plumb line system. For the outside plumb line, we use a 3/8 by 1 inch metal strip with holes drilled where the center of each stair tread will be. Then setting the pattern arm over the stair tread pattern line, we visually look through the outside plumb line hole and mark the vertical center with the aid of the inside plumb line. Then using a level, we mark the center height from the pattern. Now of course the first one starts 5 1/4 inches off the floor right down here. Now that corresponds with, we've got tile going on the floor, so that adds a little height. Now the machinery that makes this work is this laser guided drill. It casts the laser beam out the end of the drill, which is directly in line with the drill bit itself, exactly opposite or exactly in line with the drill bit. Okay, run the hole in now. Drill in a 1/2 inch diameter hole, and then we're going to drill it the rest of the way, all the way through the tree, and we'll use the other side later. But this hole that's being drilled now is exactly precisely, the placement of it, exactly precise with our 2 plumb lines, level, and all that. It comes in exactly perfect with the laser. Now, we're going to follow this hole here, the 1/2 inch diameter hole. We're going to follow that and drill the hole out to a 4 5/8 inch diameter hole using a 4 5/8 bit with a 9/16 diameter lead screw in the end of it. And it'll follow that 1/2 inch hole exact, precise. Now, I'm not that big of a guy, but I can hold on to this and run it almost one-handed, but not quite. It's the combination of the threaded lead screw. It's, it'll track that hole. And the thing is, it won't bind with that lead screw on there. It's just, it's amazing. It's just kind of amazing. See our nice pink floor from all our eastern red cedar sawdust all over the place? The whole shop is pink all of a sudden. We're gonna have to find some nice manly colored wood or something. We're gonna brush on a little bit of, it's a mixture of soap and water, about 5% dish soap and 95% water, and then we'll buff the part, and that'll clean all the junk up off of here, and cambium, the little bits that's left, and get it all cleaned up nice. This is a nylon bristle wheel here. It's not very abrasive, but it takes the junk off of the surface. See how I can get into all the little cracks and things in here? Gets into these little crevices and gets them cleaned up, just like you spent hours and hours sanding by hand. There, now we'll go to the top side of our stair tread and we'll hit that with the air drum. Now this is a body shop style polisher. They turn slower and they've got a variable speed on them, so you can turn the RPM way down on it and sand these, the big flat surfaces, things you can't run through like a time saver sander or something, can sand with the air drum when we turn the speed way down. Here you can see it's one of those things that just take forever to do it by hand, or it's impossible to do it by another machine. But here with this air drum on here, it works really good. It's extremely important that somehow these ends get cut square so the steel plates, the bolt plates, fit flat to the end. Then we'll put the bolt plate on this end. That's what I want you to see here. We've got the little 1/2-inch hole there. We'll follow that in and get our bolt plate to fit right on the end here. All right, now this is what we've got to get fitted in here. Take a close look at this. This is a 3/4 inch nut, and we're going to get this fitted right onto the end of our stair tread here. We have to get it perfectly flat, but this is what's going to draw our stairway pole and our stair tread together. It's going to get sucked together with a bolt, 3/4 inch bolt, and this nut welded onto the plate here. That'll give room for the bolt to go into as it sets in there. I'm going to set this on the floor. Now you can see these are tipped a little bit here. I'm tipping them out, kicking them out a little bit, so there's no way that the threads are going to land into this hole that I drilled in the middle here. Now this has to be able to absorb all of the strength that 3/4 inch bolt's going to pull on it, but it'll handle that real nice the way we got that put together. Perfectly flat, the threads will start, they won't cross thread, everything will work out just fine. We've got all the holes drilled, and of course we use this bit first, but then to hold the stair treads in we're using this size bolts, 3/4 inch, but the holes were originally drilled this size, 1/2 inch. So we went back, and the head of this bolt is going to be countersunk with this so we can plug the ends of it later. And then so that this 3/4 inch bolt fits in, we drilled the rest of the way through with this 1 inch bit. So we're at the spot now where they are being permanently installed with a 3/4 inch bolt. Any more there? You see how that just gets drawn in there? That is a lot of squish. That's a lot of squish pulling that stair tread, squishing it into the tree. They're getting a nice tight fit. Now each tread, see how each tread is tipped a little bit? There, I'll lift it up so it's level, and then we go back there. The outside edge of each tread is raised up just a little bit in order so that as far as time and as far as the one thing that you don't want to have is to have the outside of the stair tread hang down any. If anything, you want it up. So when we drilled the holes, we drilled it so that the outside edge of our stairway would be about a 1/2 inch higher than the center of the tree. We adjusted every one of them so they'd be just a little higher. Looks much better when she's all finished. remember our little cedar trees? The ones that were only a foot tall, planted at the same time as those big trees? Now this is an eastern red cedar from southern Iowa, and we have, let's count the, come here and look, come see. See here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right here. That tree should have been almost 2 inches in diameter and probably 8 to 10 feet tall. If it was planted in the right place, which of course it wasn't, but we were hopeful, but it didn't quite work. Well, there it is. I know that was a lot of information, but don't panic. You can get more details on the website, apieceofthewoods.com. On our next episode, we're going to put our handrail around our circle stairway. And until then, go find yourself your treasure, find your own piece of the woods.
For a copy of this episode, or for questions and information, go to www.apieceofthewoods.com. Closed captioning for A Piece of the Woods is made possible by Shorter Log Home Supply, providing for the log builders for 20 years. Underwriting for A Piece of the Woods was brought to you by Tenonizer Technology, 25 years providing the log industry equipment and techniques to simplify perfection. Great Woods Cabinetry, providing custom cabinetry and more to the Twin Cities and now everywhere, from online to on-site. From Minnesota, an online resource for log enthusiasts. And Quality Manufacturing, building quality portable sawmills is in their reputation.